Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're very, very happy to see you here in large numbers, and I'd like to particularly welcome you on behalf of our two chairmen, Urs Horner from Credit Suisse and Axel Weber, who's on his way. He'll probably pop in any moment. I'd like to welcome you very much so. Last year's event was devoted to the contribution of non-EU investors to growth and employment, to the European prosperity. And despite that chosen topic, already then we wanted to signal the role of such an important horizontal factor as digitalization. And we were particularly happy to be able to count on Mr. Günther Oettinger, who in his capacity of Commissioner for Digitalization spoke to us on the latter's impact on financial services. Digitalization and banks is this year's plain topic, so we made the full step now. And as in previous editions, together with the constituent member banks, we drafted a discussion paper to serve as a reference to our debate. This text lies in front of you. I don't intend here to anticipate what is going to be said in the course of the morning. The caliber of the discussants is such that I wouldn't dare to do so. But what I want to say is that whoever scratches just the surface of the very notion of digitalization in general, and the digital single market in particular, cannot be overwhelmed by the depth and the all-encompassing characteristic of the phenomenon. Whether you consider the potential of online access to goods and services, the requirements for effective digit networks, or the indispensable protection, not only for data, of us as individuals or part of the society, the implied quantum leap is challenging the way in which jurisdictions have been legislating and regulating thus far. This raises the fundamental question of the trade-off between the regulatory setups and the ability of business to play out its hand to satisfy market demands. The added complexity in the case of digitalization is twofold. This will eventually lead to a shift from sectoral to more functional regulatory strategies. Second, digitally relevant regulatory constraints, with all their varying facets, are national in nature, hence the reality of strongly fragmented markets. While this is more generally true, Europe is particularly a case in point, for the méthode communautaire has over time been able to integrate markets by progressively pooling sovereignty. That is what would be needed today. Unfortunately, the political paradigm is changing, both internally and externally, at a moment in which a great leap forward would not only be indispensable, but would have to squarely address a large number of hitherto national prerogatives. The key challenges, hence, is whether the Digital Agenda 2020 can develop sufficient breadth and momentum to reverse a fragmentation of national markets that had resisted many previous attempts under the single market. Or formulated differently, can the EU and its members miss this great opportunity in terms of overcoming of obstacles to continental standard setting? As the platform of two global financial players that are deeply embedded in the European economic fabric, The Swiss Finance Council is concerned by the present resilience to change, in particular in the financial services field, and as other global actors, our members are striving towards establishing of a continent-wide better level market conditions in the wider sense of the term, but also of proactive strategies towards multilaterally agreed standards wherever this is possible. It follows from the above that the trajectory ahead is not only uncertain as far as the direction of travel is concerned, but also in terms of timing and sequence. The relevance of the latter is all the more crucial as market players have to pursue the still ongoing traditional business while adapting their structures and products to growingly demanding customers. I'll stop here because the real thing is going to start now.